Hello once again, everyone. We're back at the Molly Caron Agricultural Center speaking with the superintendent, Matt Sullivan. Matt, here we are as folks come in the entrance to Farm Science Review. We have various plots behind us, recapping a little bit of what we have talked about before. What do the folks coming here, what do they see when they first walk in the gates?
Gary, there's a lot of neat plots here that farmers and agriculturists alike can take a look at. We have staggered planting dates of corn and soybeans. We have cover crop plots, and we also have some irrigation going on. So one of the things we're looking at is, as we move into these newer technologies, how can farmers use irrigation? And so we have some drip irrigation out here, and we're actually going to take some yield and see how it looks differently between non-irrigated and irrigated corn.
Now, we've talked in the past about research that's done here for the farmers of Ohio, but I suppose that research can be used in other states as well, maybe in states where the water is not as plentiful as here in Ohio.
That's right. And when you talk about irrigation, that can be almost universal wide. When you think about Ohio, or the region, or the United States, or even in other countries, irrigation is kind of universal. And so what we do here at Ohio State can also impact people across the world. And that's the cool thing, is when we say we are Ohio State, well, we're the world as well.
Now, in the background, some of that taller corn that the viewers may be seeing, that's where the irrigation research is going on.
That's right. And so we planted that a little bit earlier this year to kind of get it to be full season. When the farmers come by, and they'll be able to see what the differences are between irrigated and non-irrigated crops.
Now, we're celebrating the 60th year of Farm Science Review, and as such, we're sort of celebrating those 60 years here at the review this year.
That's right. And so when we think about what we did 6 years ago, well, some of the technologies are similar, but when you look at how things are done, that's the cool part about it. We're going to have one of the first no-till planters that was used here in Ohio, and so it's going to be 2-row. It's not going to be like the 16 or 24 row that we experience now, but the folks will be able to see what did a no-till planter look like 60 years ago.
You know, there's a lot some of the old-timers, I'll include myself in that, can remember those early years when there would be field days, and if there was a heavy rain before that field day started, you could go out and you could squeeze the water out of the soil, unless it was some no-till, and then you'd have a little bit of a hard time, and that was showing you the advantages of doing no-till, and it's come a long way since then.
That's right. When you think about the chemicals and all the different crop inputs that have changed for no-till, it's made no-till better. It's made no-till easier. And Gary, when you talk about squeezing the water out of the soil, think about the technology changes with drainage and how those drainage improvements have been able to help the farmers improve yields. And when we talk about improving yields, we can also look at different aspects of cropping patterns. When we talk about possibly putting hay in the rotation, and we're going to have a new baler here. Well, I won't say a new baler. It's a 60-year-old baler that'll be new for people to look at. And so we won't call it an antique. We're going to call it about looking back into the past so we can look into the future of how we can improve agriculture production, maybe in hay or maybe in corn and soybeans or whatever type of cropping system this farmer has today versus 60 years ago.
You know, when I was younger, I was amazed that my grandmother had been able to see all the advances in transportation, from horse and buggy all the way to putting a man on the moon. And today, I guess we can look back and see as much has happened in agriculture in the past 60 years.
That's right. And when you think about the good old days, I think about, I'm not quite 60 years old, but I think about riding those open stage tractors with no cab and no ear protection, and now we have air-conditioned air ride seats, auto steer. I like these good days versus the good old days a lot better.
You know, that is so true. And if we look back here, across the way we're going to have some activity. In past years we've, I guess, studied and did some research with GPS, and this year that areas going to have some of the same thing, but what about some of that kind of technology?
So that's the neat part about Farm Science Review. Guys and gals can walk around the Farm Science Review exhibit area and see it. But when they come out into this area, what we call the plot area, we also have ride and drives. Can-Am is going to be here demonstrating their UTVs. And so we're pretty excited about having them here. So come on out and hop in a vehicle and run around, and maybe you'll like it so much you'll buy one.
Well, when people think about Farm Science Review, and it's that third week in September, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of September, folks coming to the review and coming in the gates, do they need tickets?
Yes, we ask everybody to have a ticket. They can purchase those at their local agribusiness and also OSU Extension. And right now, we are really pushing hard to go digital with our tickets. So we have options of buying paper tickets, digital tickets. So you can go to our website, fsr.osu.edu. We're also on several social media platforms, so just look us up and you'll be able to find information about tickets and schedules and what's happening during those 3 days. You don't want to miss it, whether you're from Ohio or the region or, as we talked about earlier, the world. Come visit us at Farm Science Review.
And if you come one day, you really can't see it all. But if you have one day, is there one day that they should come above all other days?
Every day is a good day to be there at Farm Science Review. All the activities, whether it's field demos, ride and drives, exhibits, educational sessions, they're all 3 days at the Farm Science Review. So if you want to come Tuesday or Thursday, you'll still be able to see all the great exhibits and displays and ride and drives that we offer here.
And of course, the day that you can see a lot of young people, is that still Wednesday?
We get a lot of students here on Wednesday, and we welcome those students because they're the future of agriculture. And so they learn a lot, and they also take some of the information home back to their mom and dads to hopefully buy some equipment here.
And Farm Science Review is always easy to get to.
That's right. We're just right off Interstate 70, and so we're just north of London by 3 miles. So we have a freeway access, 4-lane road access. It's easy from Indiana, from Pennsylvania, and the South as well. So come visit us.
Matt Sullivan has been our guest. Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Gary.
And stay with us, back with more after this.